You have questions regarding the DLC of Wartales. The information that you guys need is not out there, and that's why I am here. What the DLC is about? Basically, it's a small DLC. It's about the fight between the Church and the Legion. Is it imperative for you guys that you guys should care? Not really. If you are not huge into mythos of the game and stuff like that, there is not amazing stuff that you guys should know here. There is a wrong assumption here. Most people think that the only way you can get to the DLC is from the Ormans County, the Skelmar DLC up in the border, which it is. That's how you can go, but what people don't seem to know is that there is a port in Arthas. In the sound of Arthas, there is a little question mark. The moment you get the first time in the game, open your map. In the south of Arthas, you will see a question mark on your map. That's a port. You go there and you get a free boat ride from Arthas to the capital. Just in case, I mean, maybe you don't have the Skelmar DLC, right? Because I seen comments from people that were up in arms from the fact that you need the Skelmar DLC in order to get to the capital DLC. But that's not true. If you don't have the Skelmar DLC, you can just use the port in from Arthas. There is not a real requirement for you to use that. Or if you have done the normal campaign, just hop on the boat. It should be free and free of charge. It takes you directly there. It's easy to miss it though. So open your map and go and look at the north question mark or the south question mark. So that is a little confusion that I wanted to get out of the way before we get into the nitty-gritty of the DLC. Okay, let's move to the next graph now. So, new DLC, new toys, right? New things to do, and all the nice things that we are get excited about. So, what about the area? The area is not big. If you guys know the Beast DLC, that's around the size of that one. It is smaller than the Skelmar DLC. It is smaller than the Belerion DLC. It's around the size of I don't remember the name, but the same size kind of the Beast DLC, which is, it's not big. It's actually not big. You are going to go around the zone quite fast. Not a big area to cover. Also, another thing, as the title says here, new enemies or lack thereof, because that's exactly the problem. One of the gripes I have about this DLC is that there are no new enemy archetypes to fight, no new soldiers, right? So, and we are going to cover this in a next graph about the repeatable content, but there are no new enemies here. You have the Legion and you have the Bandits. The Bandits are the classic bare bones bandits that you find everywhere, and the Legion is the guys you already know, right? When it comes down to, we are going to get deeper into that in a later segment, but for now, just know that there are no new enemy archetypes for you guys to fight. Regarding the gear and the legendaries, you get them from the main campaign mainly. 2 new weapons, a meme weapon like a broom from the inn. That's the easy thing. You guys are gonna figure that out anyway. Two helmets from the campaign 2 and 2 weapons. Basically, you get to choose in the end of this campaign. You get to choose if you're going to ally with the Church or with the Legion, and these guys give you 1 each basically. That's how you get your legendaries through this DLC. through the main campaign. Apart that, nothing really to write home about. The legendaries are generally a good way to add replayability and depth into the game whenever the DLC is over. These items are a little bit mediocre, but I suppose you can make them work. You have another system that you get is basically the riots, right? And that ties down to the next segment, which exploration, game additions, and stuff like that. The problem with this DLC is that, I mean, for me it's a problem because I like doing these activities. There are no new arenas and no new tombs. There's no tomb in this. I think this is maybe the only this is the only content together with Briga. Ah, there it is, Briga. Briga is the territory that where the beast lives, right? This is the old territory with including Briga that have no tomb or arenas. So if you got excited for that, there is nothing in here, and it's a reason why you get your legendaries from the campaign and not from the arenas like in the other DLCs. Now, the exploration, there is no exploration really. The area is quite small. It's a little zone around the capital. You are going to go around and discover a couple of treasures and whatnot. It's really out there, like unless you skip everything and you go directly in the capital, you really cannot miss it. There is the area it's not big, so there is no exploration, especially to get you back into the zone, for example. Now, the thing is that when it comes down to the system of the riots, that's a problem, and it was one of the issues that I was wondering about whenever I started the DLC, and actually I wanted to get into it to see exactly how it works. And now it actually confirms my suspicions, and I will explain why. It ties down to basically this: how repeatable the content is. Once you have completed the campaign, this mechanic goes away, and that is the TLDR of the whole situation. I've seen that question again and again, and the answer is pretty clear. This whole riot mechanic goes away once you have aligned yourself with either or factions. If you ally yourself with the priests, the city is in a permanent chaos mode. If you ally yourself with the legions, the city calms down. The riot mechanic goes away, and the way that works is that basically my biggest gripe with this DLC, because the riot mechanic is a bar. It is it is a bar that is basically always moving. All right, it's a bar that is always moving. So, and that means that if you rest, if you camp with your guys, you are going, the riot mechanic is going to go up once. So that means that you need to keep doing objectives and fights without camping at all, and that actually breaks the rhythm of the game. And I can definitely see how it can be harder for a new player, because okay, so imagine this, right? All the mechanics, all the events inside the capital are gated behind the level of it's gated behind the level of riots, right? There are 4 levels in the riot system, and the highest the Riot level is, the fewer events are available in the city, and the fewer places are accessible in the city. The more you lower the Riot levels, the more places get accessible and the more events you can do. So basically you can say that this is an artificial it's an artificial way to increase the time that the DLC will last, right? And again, whenever you go camp, whenever you guys rest, the Riot level will jump up one level. So you can have the situation where you have started a quest. Let's say, for example, your Riot level is level 2 and you have started the quest and you need to camp. So you camp, and after the camp, the Riot level is now level 3 and your quest is not accessible anymore. So you have to fight some random bandits or do some events before your next camp to get your Riot level down again and have that quest being accessible again. And as you can imagine, the fact that you are now forced to do continuous fights without rests in between, for a new player can be really taxing, right? Because my team is stupidly efficient. So I can recover valor points in combat. I have different ways to get through situations. But a new player that does not have a supremely optimized team with valor point recovery and stuff like that, forcing that player to do event after event after event, combat after combat after combat, to keep pushing down the level of the Riot without any rests, can be extremely taxing, right, and annoying. So in that regard, I have to warn you guys how this works. It's a continuous system that keeps going, never mind what you do. And once you have completed the main campaign, this whole system goes away. And then we go back to what we have been saying about replayability. And the replayability factor, I can't lie to you guys, it's not there. You are not going to go back to this. There is the fact that there are no new enemies to farm, because, for example, Belerion and the Skelmar, one of the big things that those places had is that you have new enemies. So you have new armors, new items to farm. So you have more reasons to go back into these DLCs and play, right? This here though, you are not gonna go back to this. There is no reason once you have completed this DLC to come back to this place ever. So the replayability factor is not there for this. So you should consider it in your decision for buying this DLC. Now, let's talk about casual versus hardcore impact, as the title says. Basically, who is this DLC for? This DLC is for completionists, achievement hunters, and people that are super invested in this game. If you don't fall into these categories, I say skip it. And it's really not one of the best DLCs they have done, and the content is not there in order to be suggested and to a new player. For a casual player, there is not really much value here. For a hardcore player, if you are again very invested into the game, and you want to see how the new legendaries play out, and try out different builds. And if you are into theory crafting and stuff like that, then yeah, sure, but only if you fall into these categories, right? So let's moving on to the next the next tab: early game versus late game. Early game, you are going to go there after the Skelmar if you have the DLC. The thing is that you are not gonna have, this is mostly for the theme of the situation. You don't need this the same way that you would be benefited, for example, from having the tavern into a new run. The tavern would be a nice addition, gives you a little bit of money and stuff like that, or the fee, for example. This one doesn't really offer anything to a new run. For the late game, I suggest for completion is something decent. The TLDR of this is that if you are a veteran and you are thirsty for content, yeah, sure. If you don't fall into this category, I say skip it. So basically now we come down to the final verdict, and honestly, it was one of those this DLC, it was one of those situations that I am not happy that I was right, because I went into this DLC with the mentality of trying out and figuring out. I was hopeful for it, but I was actually worried that the mechanics of the Riot and stuff like that they would implement would be a one-time thing, and I was right. And unfortunately, the region is not big enough to add any value beyond the theme and, you know, trying something new, like that's it really. So here is the thing, right? If we are talking about the content and the value that the DLC offers, I can't really say that it is worth it. So if you are asking me if the value of the DLC is there, no, it's not. And that is not just my opinion, it is objective. It is not. If you compare the other DLCs, it's not there. The long-term impact of this DLC, I can't really see it have any long-term, in the sense that it's going to affect the game in a significant way. When it comes down to mechanics, of course, right? When it comes down to lore and stuff like that, it can go in any way. But regarding the gameplay and replayability and all of these important things, mechanics like that, like the ones that exist in the capital, you will not. You will see them being repeated in here and there in different forms. As the way that Shiro operates, they introduce a system and then they take this system, they evolve it and they put it somewhere else. For example, the fifth DLC was basically an improved version of the tavern, right? So I suppose you are going to see different mechanics that are based off of these capital mechanic at some point, but again, if they implement it the same way, it's not going to affect the game in a significant way or a way that you would care about. It's going to be a thematic thing again, and you're gonna do it once and it's gonna go away, right? So long-term impact regarding when it comes down to repeatable content, no, there is not any there. The only repeatable content that you are going to have is basically the legendaries that you find inside this DLC, and it depends how much you are invested into making them work and theory crafting around them, right? But apart that, there is nothing really. So overall, I would say that this looked like an experiment, if you ask me. This looked like, in my eyes, this looked like an experiment that Shiro wanted to do to try out different things. It's not a DLC that is going to change your life. It's not the DLC that you have been expecting. It moves the story forward a little bit, but that's really it. There are, if you are on the market, let's say, to see what DLCs it's good to buy, there are better ones. There are way better ones. The Skelmar and the Belerion are, when it comes down to regions, are way better than this. And if you want content to accompany your game, the Tavern and the Thief later on are way better choices. I would the bottom line here is that it's basically, this is basically content for the completionists. That's what it is. If you fall into this category, then I suppose fine. If you are not, then feel free to skip this. You are not really missing much, unless you have a FOMO for legendaries, I suppose, but if you are a casual player, you will not anyway. So yeah, that was it. If you have any questions or anything at all, put them down in the comment section. I will do my best to answer, and that's it. Other than that, Overlord out.